Business Brain, episode 552 for Casual Friday, May 24th, the 24th of May, Lakeside Park Day 2024. Greetings, folks, and welcome back to Business Brain, or if it's your first episode, welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take an idea or six, we crunch them, we dissect them, we analyze them so that we can each use them to tune our business brains every single episode. Here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
I'm still out here in Northern California. I'm Shannon Jean. How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay, but I want to fire my bank again.
If you've listened to this show for any length of time, you know one of my ongoing, I hate banks. They're a necessary evil, but
I guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I went to we have sponsors on the show. And our sponsor for this episode is Shopify.com/businessbrain, where you can sign up for your $1 per month trial period, right? We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But we get paid by our sponsors, as you might imagine. And
it's glorious.
Yeah. And so it comes into an account in the LLC that we have here that Shannon and I have together. And once a quarter-ish, maybe whatever, 3 times a year, if we haven't spent the money on things to promote the show, we, distribute the money to the members of the LLC, aka the two of us. And Shannon was like, use Zelle to do this. And so I was like, all right, yeah, sure, I use Zelle. Fine, that's whatever. He used it last time.
I did.
I've been using PayPal to send it out because PayPal just slurps it from the checking account and sends it out. And so I was like, yeah, all right, fine, I'll use Zelle. So I go through the whole thing with Zelle, and I go to send it to me. And it's like, you can't send to that person. You have to call the bank.
That's bad.
And I was like, to verify yourself. And I'm like, all right, sure. So I call the bank. And I'm already upset. Now, let's be very clear. I'm.
Oh, I knew. I could tell you. We were in the chat, in the Slack.
Shannon can see
Dave
it
was
escalate.
Just hammering me.
The heat was on, man.
Yeah, I could see it. See it.
And so I'm already pissed at this point that I have to call the bank to verify I'm me. Okay. And this is a bank that I have an account. I have this business and another business, and that other business moves millions of dollars a year through it. Okay. Let's just be clear about that.
Nice. Yep.
Or did. And so I call the bank. The customer service number, whatever. They're like, oh, yeah, you need to talk to somebody in this department. So they, after 5 minutes or whatever, they transfer me 2 more minutes. Okay, now I'm on the phone. Great. They're like, yep, okay, I just need to do that. I need to text you a one-time code. I'm like, great. I give them my cell phone number, which I will point out, because this might be the issue, is the cell phone number that I was trying to send the Zelle to, because that cell phone number is associated with my personal checking account's Zelle receive thing, And the woman's like, oh, I can't send to that number. You need to come into the bank to verify yourself.
Oh, no. That's an impossibility.
And I said a bad word in what I conveyed to her. But essentially what I said was, are you kidding me? That's the part that might have included a fourth word that also happened to start with F, but it wasn't fourth.
Yes.
And I said, if I have to come into the bank, it will be to close my account.
I love that. Yeah, that's good.
And the woman said, well, I'm sorry. Like, it's not her fault. And so I backed off of her because she doesn't set the policies. She's
that's right.
Delivering it. Yeah.
You always treat them nice, but it's
Yeah, and I wasn't nice initially. I mean, in my little outburst of the "Are you kidding me?" Other than that, I remained kind to her, and I apologized to her. But I was like, all right. Well, I had an email from my banker this morning because with the other business, we do a lot of wire transfers, and he emailed me and he's like, hey, there's a new policy coming that says to do a wire transfer, you need a second person to approve it. So one person submits it, the second person approves it. I'm going to have to file a waiver on your behalf so that you can continue to be the person that approves the wire transfers. Already, I need to log in. This is Citizens Bank, by the way, if anybody wants to know. I need to log in with one account to submit the wire, and then I need to log in with another account.
Oh, come on. That's ridiculous.
Already.
Dude.
That's been going on for
nuts.
6 years.
Yeah.
And now they say that's not cool. It needs to be literally a second human. But he's like, I'm going to try. So, of course, I emailed him and I'm like, dude, today is the wrong day for them to have told me I need to come into the bank to approve a transfer of not very much money. Yeah. I'm like, do I need to come in and close my accounts, or can all this be handled by you?
Yep.
And I'm waiting
exactly
for the
right.
answer.
Yeah. That's because you have LMA money.
I have a little bit of leave me alone money. That's right.
That's it. Once you have LMA money, you're like, hey, you know what? I'll take my business elsewhere. You're not worried about the bank. The bank is just a tool. And if they don't treat you the way you expect, or they put up these BS rules and things to step, over, I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I've done the same thing. And I have, banking relationships that, like I said, necessarily evil. You have to have it. They're part of commerce. You got to do it.
You do have to have a bank account. Yeah, I know. I was kidding earlier when I said
that. I send lots of wire transfers too. Almost every week. Pretty much on a weekly basis, I'm sending wire transfers. And if they put barriers into that, I'm leaving. There is no way. And it's. I feel like the banks are so powerful that they don't really understand what customer service is all about. And, they're not taught, the individuals aren't taught. They may give you some platitudes and this kind of thing and try it, but it's not like, oh, we need to save this customer relationship for the most part, unless you have leverage. The problem is
they're immersed in the banking rules. I used to work for a bank, right?
True.
I worked for Citibank. I didn't work in a branch, so I can't say that I have that experience. However, I was the super nerdy guy that understood how all the back-end system works. So I would be the guy once a week. I would go to the customer service center on Long Island and answer the difficult problems. So I did some bank customer service. And you get immersed into, this is how it works here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because of rules.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Regulations. You have to do this, have to do that. I got it. No, it's great. But I'm glad. Hopefully, the email response you're going to get is, of course, Dave, I'm going to take care of this for you.
All right, folks. Have you ever thought about starting your own merch store but didn't know where to start? Well, let me tell you a story. One random Tuesday, a business partner and I were kind of talking. We had this wild idea with one of our businesses that had nothing to do with merch prior to this day. And we're like, well, wait, we want to do that. We want to turn this into reality. With Shopify, it took us less than a day from concept to our first sale. We heard that sound, which is the sound of a sale happening on Shopify, and we were like, wait, did that just happen? Yeah, it did. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're just starting with your online shop, opening your first brick and mortar store, or celebrating your millionth order, Shopify's got your back. I'm not going to play the sound a million times, though, because that might get a little old. But it's that. Times a million. Shopify will help get you there. That's what you need. Selling anything from productivity programs to shipping supplies, Shopify helps you sell everywhere with their all-in-one e-commerce platform and in-person POS. They even have Shopify Magic, their AI-powered all-star, making selling easier than ever. And did you know Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. and supports millions of entrepreneurs across 175 countries? And with their award-winning help, you're never alone on your journey. So if you're ready to turn those business dreams into reality, sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/businessbrain, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/businessbrain now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/businessbrain. And our thanks to Shopify for sponsoring this episode.
I love those guys.
Same.
They're the opposite of a bank.
I know. They're
super
so
empowering,
easy to work with.
And they allow you to make money in all these great creative ways. And they empower you where the banks often get in the way.
Get in the way. Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's no friction with Shopify. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I love it.
That's cool.
I love it. Earlier this week, Shannon, I stumbled on a thing from a listener to Matt Geek Gab, one of the other podcasts that I do. And he shared something about how to level up or maybe polish your use of the generative AIs, ChatGPT and its ilk, right?
Yep.
And it's this thing called the Risen method, RISEN, and that's the important part to
Not the
remember.
rhythm method, but the Risen method. Right?
The rhythm method, which it's interesting you say that. I at the beginning of the show, I called this Lakeside Park Day. That is something only known to those of us who are Rush fans, the fans of the band Rush.
Okay.
Because there's this song on their third album called Lakeside Park where they talk about the 24th of May, which in Canada, Queen Victoria Day is a celebration. It's now celebrated on the Monday of, not on the 24th of May. So like it's not always, it's not Queen Victoria Day anymore, even though her birthday was that. But the rhythm method for years was the name of Rush's drummer, Neil Peart's drum solo. It's also other things,
of course,
as you
of
might
course.
know. Yeah.
That's good.
No, it's the Risen method, RISEN.
When you shared it with me, I read it. I was like, yeah, this is so great because I've used pieces of this before, as I'm developing prompts and doing things to get the feedback that I want from the AI to help me. And so, I thought this was definitely worth sharing with our listeners first.
It's great. So it's called the Risen method because you are using RISEN as your the path through the prompt. So R is role. Establish the AI's role. Things like you are an advisor, you are a creator. A lot of times when I have it building the blog posts for like the podcasts that I produce, I tell it, you are an SEO expert.
Yes, I do the
right?
same with you're a marketing expert. Yeah, you're a small business owner. You want, and if you're using the 4 Omni, which is the latest release, it actually has a little thing where it resets itself and says, "Oh, updated memory." And if you click on it, it'll say, "I am a marketing expert," or I am whatever. So you're causing it to shift gears based on what you want out of it. Smart.
Yep. And so that's R. The I is instructions or input, the specific question, clarifying, detailing what you want the AI to do with a very clear directive. So the instructions, right?
Yeah.
And then S are the steps. The break down the task into these manageable steps, ensuring like a logical progression through things, things like first provide an overview, then delve into the details, giving the AI the instructions so that it knows what you want as results.
Yeah. And I've been using it to help create worksheets and, course material for content I've already created. So like a chapter in a book I'm working on, I will tell it, here, I first want you to read this chapter, make sure you understand it. Then I want a 10-step worksheet for a business owner, followed by a 10-step worksheet for an employer that can help teach these tasks. Because it's a different framework of how they're presenting it to it. And it's important. It works.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. And then part of the steps is the next thing, E, the end goal, the expectation, right? What is the objective of this prompt to help guide the AI? Things like, I want to make a brief summary, or I want to make a comprehensive guide. Those are 2 very different outcomes. And, when I build the show notes for like Matt Geek Gab or Gig Gab, you do this show, but when I do the other shows, I say, build me 2 paragraphs. I don't want 5 paragraphs. I don't want 1 sentence. I want 2 paragraphs. When I do the ads, by the way, every ad script that I read and that I have been reading for the last, 3 months, 6 months, maybe, has been written by AI. I've learned that I have to tell it, build me a 40-second ad script. My pacing, I don't know who it thinks would read those ad scripts in 40 seconds. I I speak really fast.
Yeah, sure.
And it takes me like, maybe 80 seconds to read, 90 seconds to read.
Yeah.
So I know. All right, build me a 40-second script. Fine. I'm double what you think I'm going to be.
Yep.
How does it know? I'm not going back and giving it, here's the audio file from.
Right.
Now I could with 4Omni maybe and have it learn me, but
yeah. And really telling it what you need the information for is crucial.
Yes.
Like if you're getting help with a social media post, you want short, distinct, answers or sentences or something like that. But if it's for a blog post or
very different
your worksheet, that you've got to tell it what you want. I use it a lot. I use it for the imagery for every episode here of Business Brain and a lot of posts that I do online and other business things. So it's the same thing. You want it. Oh, I want this flat image and I want these dimensions and I want this. And, we're joking around with the guy who runs a business called Mulch Masters, a young guy who's in our growth group on X, and he was trying to do a sign, and I said, "Wow, what would be great?" And I was just being funny. I said, "I want to create a sign it says Bark Boys," and I said, 2 guys, college kids, moving stuff around, shirts off, muscular, and ChatGPT came back and said, that may be against my terms and conditions. Yeah. And I was like, oh, but it made it. And it made this funny kind of, picture. I only shared it within our group. The more information you do, the better. And I now write all my prompts in a separate document, and then I paste them into ChatGPT because I save them. And and I like to save the results with what it created because I'm trying to become, just like I think I'm a pretty good Googler, over time, using natural language to find things you want. Well, I hardly use Google anymore at all, and I can't be the only one. And
Google knows this. They just said so at Google I/O, right?
Yeah.
They are. What was the phrase they kept saying? Something along the lines of, "Let us do the Googling for you."
Yes,
which is a huge change.
It is.
Their whole business model was to have your time on site, right? The number of seconds that you or we as users spent on Google, they wanted it as low as possible. They wanted you to come, search, and leave, which made Google valuable.
For years.
Now,
it's different.
Now, but that's bad for publishers.
Yeah, well, it is bad.
It's bad for publishers that aren't going to change.
Yeah, you have to adapt, I'm trying to become a good prompt person in creation because I believe this next wave of opportunity is what it is built around how we're going to use these AIs. And I mentioned this Cast Magic. I don't know if it was before we started this show or after, but if you're creating content in any form at all, if you're a teacher, if you're a podcaster, a musician, a writer, anything, the AI is going to do so much for you to create something else. And Cast Magic I'm using it to mine information from our previous podcasts to present it. Like, for example, we did a show about a product or service strategy, and I went and with a RSS feed, put it into Cast Magic, and it pulled out, and I said, hey, I want a post related to this, or I want an article related to these topics, and it went in and created that post for me based on that podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you can do it with anything, whether you're a YouTuber, you have a manuscript, a blog, or whatever. It's very impressive, and I think it's just getting started. It's amazing. And so
Cast Magic slurps through audio content,
video,
and then
audio,
video
text,
or audio,
anything.
Oh, interesting.
Anything.
Wow.
And then there is then there's just like a whole menu of things that you can do. And it's mind blowing. I've been doing the same with the new AI that's built into Loom. If you know what Loom is, it allows you to talk in a corner of your screen and tell somebody thing. Well, now what Loom does, it takes that same content and uses the AI, and it like I helped a coaching client of mine with their X profile. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go through this whole walkthrough of your profile and tell you how I think you should improve it, change this, add this, reword this, da-da-da-da. And it was about 15, 20 minutes because then I talked to them about their posts and different things. Well, Loom basically created a course for me all about how to succeed on the X platform. And I thought, whoa, man, this is crazy. There's a whole breakdown of this, that. So in the past where we've had to go duplicate our efforts, whether it's writing, video, whatever, now the AI as our assistant is going to create all different forms of what we've done one time. And so it's systemizing the use of our content and helping with distribution. So, and that's a big thing for me next. Like I won't, so.
Yeah. Listen, if you're not, the AI is going to do this anyway.
Yes, it is.
Here's the reality, right? All the content that we've created, the 20 plus, almost 30 years of the stuff that we did at Mac Observer, the almost 20 years of the podcast content I've created, the AI is going to ingest that. Not going to. It already has.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And that's fine. But it's going to synthesize all of that and turn it into valuable summaries or things that are valuable to people when they're looking for a specific thing.
So you might as well monetize that.
You might as well get ahead of it.
Yes.
Use the AI to further sort of refine your content or repurpose your content.
Well, like Cast Magic, as it's helping me pull out these data points and what are the top 5 topics we discussed in a show and different things. It's also saying, okay, here's a LinkedIn version of that post. Here's an X version of that post. Here's a clip that you can post to YouTube if you want. Here's this. Here's an image with the transcript coming over on top of a picture as we describe a certain topic. And so I've only been messing with it for like 24 hours. And I'm sitting here. I was up till like 2 a.m. working with it last night. I was like, okay.
Game changer.
This is incredible. So, it was great. And I'm going to be posting my first post on X after we're done with this show, talking about this product, this 3-part product or service strategy that we did a whole episode on.
Yeah, right.
And it just brought it together for me. It's not producing content for me.
No, it's refining what you've already said.
Exactly. And preparing it in different formats. So it's
amazing.
It is amazing. If you want to read about it, go to businessbrain.show. You'll see it in the show notes.
Okay, great.
The link.
Yeah. The last thing in this Risen framework, and it's important, is the N part of it, narrowing. Because you want to state any limitations, constraints, how you want it formatted. When I do my blog posts for, the podcast, I always say, create me the 2-paragraph blog post based on these chapters. I just feed it the chapters that I create while we're doing the show. I say omit any mention of sponsors. I'm already going to do that separately. You don't need to spend, half a paragraph talking about the sponsors. We've already got that. And don't wrap it in quotation marks. Like if there's formatting things, all of that stuff.
Because you're going to copy it and paste it, and it puts
I don't want to have to go and right. When I do the ad reads, I say make it for one person and no sound effects, because it will list do this sound effect, then say this, do this sound effect. That's not me. Cool. But that's fine, but that's not me. So
it's great. It's great. It's a, and I'm a 58-year-old guy. I've been around a long time building businesses, learning this stuff. The first, team app that we deployed at one of my businesses was AOL Instant Messenger. I've been here a long time, and I can tell you that I see it. It's just like I talk about the energy from building something on X, and that I think it's really something unique, and there's a big runway ahead of us. It's the same with these tools that are going to help entrepreneurs and small business owners do far more than we ever could have, and it's exciting, man. The future is bright.
I agree.
Awesome.
Thanks for hanging out with us a little extra today here on Casual Friday, folks. Very interesting. I love this stuff. It's
So do I.
Yeah, man. Yep. Thanks for hanging out. Feedback at businessbrain.show is where you can find us. Please send us your thoughts. What AI engines are you using? Let us know, and keep living that charmed life. I'll see you next week. Later.